those of you who celebrate. So today I am working on a piece of my new business, I suppose, that is based around a course I'm making, or a set of courses that teach programming by giving you tests, programming, tests for your program to pass. So the lessons are structured as a set of tests, right? Anyway, so it's going to be on the web. I previously implemented something like this on the command line, so it was a local tool. It was for the LearnTris project, so you would build a Tetris clone, and the way that worked is you would check out the repository, you would have the file with all the tests on it on your local hard drive, and you would run them, and then it would run from your command line. You run a Python script that loads those tests, parses them, runs your program, and then applies the inputs from the test script to your program, and then it checks whether or not you get the inputs out, or the appropriate output. So that idea is so cool, but it requires, first of all, it's really messy. It's all in the terminal, so some people aren't even. This LearnTris is really aimed at like beginners or close to people who have made it through their first couple tutorials and just want to know what to do next. And so it was difficult to get like the command line set up, and even then, like yesterday or last week, I was working on the same thing, and I couldn't get it to talk to Godot, even though Godot has a tool or command for reading from standard input. It's supposed to have a console interface, but it didn't work. So I had to work around that. And anyway, it would be nice to be able to do it even without a local dev environment. So be able to run the tests in the browser, or in on a cloud machine or something like that, and provide a cloud environment, provide the interpreters and all that people to use. So basically the idea, and also the tests are going to be like sold, so I'm not giving them away, so they're not going to be on your hard drive. So the idea tonight or today is to take my old code from LearnTris, and I'm going to expand it and basically start refactoring that into a web server. So I've got Flask is a Python like backend web framework, and HTMX is a front end. I don't know what you would call it. Like I guess it's a front end web framework for JavaScript, but it's really based around the idea of building, well, the idea of REST, right? So that you're building like an API, and you're just an API REST. I don't know. You'll see. It's got a very different approach to. It's very driven by hypermedia, basically. It's basically you're writing HTML and you're putting some attributes on that says when you click on this, do this, and so on. And it's less about scripting and more about just making, I don't know, really embracing the idea of hypermedia and being able to, something that's self-describing. And so the idea to me was that I would make a little server, and it would be something that serves the data about the tests and tells you what the next test to run is, and what to so on, and then also tells the front end. So you have a web page up, and then either you'd be working in another window, or maybe in that exact same window in the web page itself, be writing your program, and then trying to pass the tests that the server is providing. That's kind of where I'm going with this. I see I've been rambling for 15 minutes, 16 minutes already. So let's just jump in and start some coding. Okay, so drink down here. I've used Flask in the past. It's like kind of like the default Python web framework for me. Although now that I think about it, I often tend to use Tornado and just use that as well. And then HTMX is completely new to me. I have read the documentation, or read most of the documentation, and I don't know, I have a friend that's using it, or acquaintance that's using it, and I've been kind of keeping my eye on it for a while. And this just seems like a nice nice approach, because this is something that I would normally do as a, I'm making a server that would, traditionally in my mind would just be pure like JSON, right? And then it would provide the data for some front end that would be designed in another repository or something. But since this component will be open source, so that other people can make their tests and other people can, I'll be running the server on my thing, and the actual tests will be coming down to the client, but the client will be open source, so that if you want to use a language that my system doesn't support, if I don't provide a runner for a B4 or whatever, when some new language that you're interested in using, you can write your own, or you can use the command line runner to run your program and basically do everything that LearnTrust did. You're just going to jump through a few more hoops than having it all running on the web. Okay, so I guess I have a new repo called it's called rogo. Rogo is, it's what it says, Latin for to ask, also the name of a character in Eli Goldratt's books that are very Socratic approaches to teaching business concepts. And it also uses all the letters of the word org, so I thought that. Anyway, oops. So I made a to-do list and migrate Testris and so on. All right, so I have to actually copy this over. Was it Alt 12 maybe? Yeah, terminal. So let's just copy LearnTrust tar.py over to here. Git status. And I have extract and Testris. So very first command was to rename those and to command for myself. So we're going to call this org test. Factor rename. Shift F6, yeah. Run kind of slow. Org test. Preview, and I would expect it to change the line in Testris. Okay. Maybe I should just not do that. Maybe I should just copy them directly and then check them in, and then you can see the exact change what I made. Okay, so Alt F12. Let's do that again. Copy them here. Probably I should put them in some kind of directory. Well, I'm going to move them to different places as they go along, so they'll be removed out of this place. All right, so yeah, so git add org test, no, not called org test, testris.py and extract.py. Commit -m, and we're going to commit import runner from LearnTrust. Okay. So now, and we're going to recall this org test, right? No, this would be called rogo, right? Means rogo. So Intel's rogo. Find. How do you replace? Oh, H. Tetris replace with rogo. That one. Now. And path to your program. So now learn tris should be replaced with your code or program. Replace. I'm not copying the wiki right now. Find target. What would we call the main program? Run. Find target. Oh, that's not what I want to do. I want to undo the undo. How do you edit? Redo. Control Shift Z. Yeah, I was doing that. Based. Okay. Insulin. That comes. Now we want to shift fix that. Find target. And the default is going to be my code. My code. Path is your programs. Your program. How about my program? That's a little weird to say, but I guess actually that we had some confusion about, like, people ask very strange things. So being able to put both of them in there, that way, you can see it. It's not exactly. It can be whatever you want. Okay. So that, and then we're going to rename this. Whatever we called it. We called it rogo, right? Factor rename rogo.py. And then extract, where was it? Extract. Six. Org test. And you see it grayed out, so it didn't. Probably should have introduced an error like right there, right? I don't know why I didn't. I don't know why I didn't include that in the refactoring, but detected 2 blank lines, found 1. Okay. Okay. I just go ahead and fix all the step 8 things. Print, we don't need to print. Yeah, I'm going to keep multiple imports on one line. Part of the language, I want to do that. Step 8 is annoying. Step 8 is the. I'll put blanks. I don't really even like that. Maybe I need this. I think that's something you should configure in your own code text file. Yeah, remove redundant parentheses. Want to? What that needs. Hear what that is. Some of these comments are dumb. Come on now. That's why I don't like Pepe. Like, force you to use the extra line. This is boring. This is not important. Not terribly important. You want space there. Don't use E. Remove that. It's on my list of things to remove. That's the cursor, right? No. Why is it? Test might be referenced before assignment. I suppose that's true, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. Again, doesn't matter. Fine, sure. Yes, this is exactly what I wanted. I want it to, except, yeah, I want to trap every possible exception. Every conceivable exception, yeah. Actually what I want. Okay. Org test. Test descriptions from org files. I don't really like this format anymore. I want to like streamline it a little bit, but I'm going to leave it exactly the same for now. Mad about there. comment should start with. I don't care about these little things like spaces and stuff. Having a space. What's wrong with this line? That was named line from outer scope. Because way down at the bottom, I declared something called line. Line and test lines. Rather, what we'll do is we'll name this main. Def main. Why is the word tangent storm showing? I think that's the code with me thing. I think there's some way to like share your code. Probably wants one extra space here. I don't know why these assertions are that I made it. All right, so for now we're going to leave this the same. Let's look for the words learntress and testress. Nope. So this is all neutral. We're going to save this. And how about rebrand? How about git commit -m? How about we've got to say git remove those. Or actually git status. I bet PyCharm done. Yeah, it renamed them and then added them. So git add org test rogo and git commit -m renamed rebrand testress to your source code contains future imports. Oh. But that is true, we don't need that anymore. I'm just testing to make sure. Yeah, I think I made some changes there. Basically remove await results and then timeout failure gets to be replaced with as E, which we also removed. And that was the only change that I didn't have, so okay, so cd status. I just forgot to hit pull before I Copy that file over. Rogo.py. Hit command-m. Rogo remove. Pull in last change from interest. Okay. Yes. Okay. So that's all good. Later we'll fix this and make it a nicer thing. Okay. So I guess that completes the action of migrating this. Now for the client. So the default idea is that we're going to run a test plan. And we don't have a test plan in this repository. I'll probably clean this up later. But so the idea, so we need to make an org file, right? Let me pull up the, we can copy the one from LearnTrust. Copy LearnTrust test plan. And if we open this, maybe PyCharm here will tell me that it knows how to do something with this file. Plugin. There's one for, I'm just curious if there's. Nope. Kind of surprises me. Org. All right, well, it doesn't matter because we have Emacs. Bring that up in a second. So this is the rogo test plan. Okay, so here's this. So rogo client suite test suite. So the idea is I'm going to use this to bootstrap itself, right? I'm going to bootstrap it by creating a series of tests for this client to make sure that it works. All right. So I think how to add a new test. That's fine. And then the ideas for more tests are all associated with LearnTrust. So you can see, so here's what the tests look like. Readable. So this is an input line. This is we parse this file, and each time we see one of these little blocks like this, that's a test case. And so this is the name of the test. Also, this is the name of the test. This is like the title for the test that shows up on the screen for the user to read. This is the text of like some exposition that goes along with the test. So when it fails, this is going to show up on the screen. And then this is the input that we send to your program. And then if there was a line that didn't have any dots in front of, or colons or equals or greater than signs, that would be output. So it would be the expected output. So in this case, the quit function expects you to, the quit function doesn't just exits the program. Instead of LearnTrust, let's replace this with rogo. I'm going to use rogo to test itself. Is that what I'm saying? Yes. Okay. rogo is going to be the command line tool. So we're going to use rogo to test itself. All right, so rogo. Rogo, how about rogo CLI to quit? A rogo shell. The shell cannot produce any output except unless explicitly instructed to do so. Maybe that's not true. Like maybe we should expect to see a headline. I need a name for this because it's not really a shell. I mean, it is a shell, but it's like the back end of a shell. It's like an API shell. And I don't know. Okay, so rogo, whatever the shell. Yeah. So anyway, so so now here, like in Tetris mode, you would this is all just like notes for myself. And we give it a new name. So the next is IOP, and you want to print the board on which the matrix it's called where you're playing Tetris. So this is ignored. Anything with a hash pound sign octothorpe is ignored. So it just wants these dots. Anyway, and so then as you get further along, then you get more and more complicated, and you eventually wind up to building Tetris in that case. But in this case, that's not the case. That's not what we want. So let's get rid of that, and we'll start our new test here. We don't know. How about list? How about tests? How about courses? Getting a suggestion so that my bit rate is lower than it. Print tests. Print. What do we want to call them? The word trail comes to mind. List available trails. Available challenges. How about that? Courses. Print courses. List available challenges. All right, and then we'll change this to this. I don't know if I should be using the to-dos there or whatever, but anyway. All right, so now if we run, we'll just make a new file called shell or whatever. Okay, do this and then say, so rogo. Rogo CLI .py Rogo API, maybe Rogo API. Rogo driver. Yeah, I like that. I should say it cannot find rogo driver.py. Okay. So then if we touch rogo driver.py, I should say not, can't run it. Not a valid application. I don't know how this works. I got to say shell, right? Interesting. All right, because we're not expecting any output, right? So the output would be, what do we expect? Rogo client test suite. Something like that. Now, if I'm talking about JSON output, that's interesting. Okay, so now this should fail. Right. Rogo client test suite. Okay, so let's go ahead and put that in here. So we'll add these two things to Git. Then in Rogo driver, and in Python 3, command line driver for Rogo. Rogo client. Probably use it underscore so we can run, so we can import it. Rename. Let's call it driver. Okay, so it actually did run. Okay, so it should not print anything, and then let's give it a main. Oh, how do I do that? This is the problem with the standard in, like it's too big. Okay, so import sys, and we'll just say for line in just standard in lines, these lines, line so now if we run driver, What's going on here? I'm surprised. I'm not sure what's happening there because I would expect that to work. Why can I not? Drag a window here. It's not even. See rogo. Windows. What? Interesting. That's very strange to me. It's the dash, right? So the standard I/O works exactly how I want, but the shell is not working the way I expect it to work. Actual terminal is not working. Okay, well, that's fine for now. So if we fix that, then the test should pass. One test passed and P failed. We have a match operator in Python now, don't we? Match line Q break P print rogo client test suite. Get that out of the file in a second here. What's wrong with that? Python match. I'm not up. I have no case. The case. Oh, we need C's, not P's. There we go. Not trivial. All right. Okay. I'm probably going to change that and make it like a class-driven thing, kind of like the command library. In fact, I could probably use the command. This Python command CMD library. Yeah, command line oriented interpreters. You can just use this and make little like, defs. So, I'll just import sys command. Class rogo driver. And then I want some of that, but not all of it. So quit the shell. Run test. We should probably be able to tell it to ignore a prompt. Okay. Run the test suite. And then we could just say, now we can just say command loop. So command shell equals rogo driver. Shell command. Unknown syntax Q. This courses. Weird. Is that really how you end it? I self-close. Is EOF really a thing? End of file I think we just don't need that. Oh, it is return true. I think we're seeing a prompt there. One test passed. Okay. Maybe we could put a dash Q or something in there to augment. Okay. So that's the basic idea. In fact, even we can just get rid of that. We don't need that anymore. Okay. Test IOP failed, and IO is not. Where's IOP? So, oh. I didn't fail. Timed out. Why does it fail if it? It's timing out, right? It's not telling me it's timing out. If I say like timeout equals 20 here. Yeah, it's gonna wait. Hmm. And that's not right. It should be like this. I'm pretty sure I did. I did something like this before. As I could have sworn I implemented this. If e equals if is instance subprocess timeout alert else. Num passed and then number of tests. Test. Just say 1 of 2 tests passed and test timed out. Okay, that's what I want. So we haven't gotten to the HTMX part yet, or the web part yet, but I'm getting there. Go. It's like actually burning up in here. Heater's just going crazy in this room. Freezing outside. Okay. Okay, so now got to log in somehow. We can skip over that. I'm not going to worry about that for now. I'll go at the very end. List available challenges. We've got that. So what we really want here is we want this thing to come out of the app, right? So this has, what's this? Okay, so we don't want this right now. We want so we want to add something like or courses, challenges. And now we're going to put this, instead of this, we're going to put this here. I think the Python format is probably good. If we do JSON dump test, then that'll be fine. All right, so def init. So I'm going to say self client equals rogo client. What is a rogo client? We don't know yet. From client import rogo. Can I make that? I think there's a way to like. There should be like a way to like make that. Oh well. New file. I'm gonna just call it client.py. Class rogo client. Import requests. Oh, we don't have requests. Okay, so now I have to learn how to set up a virtual environment for me. I've never used a virtual environment. Or I have used them. I've never set one up. I'm old school. I think you just say pip install. There's some install package request. API client for rogo, client for the rogo. And maybe it should be out here. That URL, that's what I want. I'm thinking that the server is going to have like a bunch of different tests in it. Because you got all the different courses that you have that you can sign up for. You can say, I want to play this one or that one or this one. But right now we only have one, and this is really not the most important thing. The most important thing is really to get it testing, right? To just test the. Like, what do we really want to do? All right, so say we've done this. We've requested available challenges. We select a challenge. We can fetch a test prompt. I think I'm gonna build out the server just a little bit. All right, so app is the server. I don't really like that. Like my thought is that this is going to generate. This is going to generate a bunch of. Each one of these is going to generate either JSON or HTML. Right. How would we say return? And I believe you just put HTML in here. HTML. All right, so this thing has templates, right? So let's look at how Flask does templates. Rendering templates. You can render template. Index. index.html. Simply render template, yes. New Ninja file. Do we have a file? Oh, I guess we'd say index.html. So index.html. Let's see what happens. Great. And then in here we say its name. All right, so we have all that stuff. Doc type. So this is like the main page. All right, and now if we run this, edit. How does it know what the template directory is? No, I don't want Jinja. I want. It gave me an option to rename that directory from templates to something else. I don't think that's possible. I think we just have to rename it. Let's try it. I think it's gonna fail, right? Template not found. Yeah, template. We gotta rename it. To templates. Now when we run it again, rogo test runner. All right. I should. How do you make it run in debug mode? I was going to use Tornado. I'm going to use Tornado for WebSocket. Class does not have WebSocket. Debug mode. Enable debug modes. Pass in debug. Stop this. No, it's not. It's actually debugging debug. Class debug. Yeah. Run this now. If I think if bugger is active, bugger pin. Okay. Now it says rogo test runner. Fails to get that. Expect. I'm just gonna write hello world. I save it. Okay, it didn't update. It doesn't auto update the page, but it does when I refresh. Okay, I can deal with that. Let's move this to defer. And then how do we pass in something to the template? What I'm thinking is we want a site index, right? That's going to be index.html, or we'll just say index.html. This is the home. I don't need these lines here. So we probably want to have like a list of things that you can do here, right? And maybe a style sheet, link, rel equals style sheet. Href is static style.css. You don't have to self-close in it. Probably wrong. Okay, so then under static, we're going to say new style sheet. Style.css. Say background gold. Body background. I'm not going to keep that. I just want to prove that it works. Background. Can we change that color? Right here? Can we? If I change this, will it change that token? Light color. Ah. And we'll put like a little name up here. Hi. The index will. You can say menu, I guess. Nav. Can I get a reference on this? MDN nav. Yeah, and then you just put some kind of OL. Oh, what'll be there? It's going to be so href equals challenges. Challenges. Maybe we probably do want it to be like more of a nav bar kind of thing. Well, I don't know what the UI is going to be. But, so the promise of this HTMX thing, let's say the end of that one. Now we got this and should be a UI. All right, stop. I guess it's being helpful, but it I'm not used to it being helpful, so I'm making it unhelpful. Home. And then maybe, I think, what is it, nav, main, something like that? Main is main content. Rogo is a test runner, is a tool for writing interactive courses based on a test first philosophy. ID equals main. All right, so now the question is, how do you make, I think, my little daughter is going crazy over there. All right, so then the idea is when you click on challenges, we should list the challenges and it refresh that. And so what I want is to replace this area. So that's where HTMX comes in. All right, so we should load htmx.js, but we don't have that. So installation. just go there and oh, but I don't want. I want the whole thing. Because 10 years from now, I want this to exist. Right? We run it. I mean, I don't need that, right? I can use the still use the min version. Yes, I know they should not be. We'll use the .min.js. Got that. It rendered it great. I haven't looked at this code. I'm kind of just like trying it out, see if I even want to. But I do plan to learn from it. Study the code itself. Okay, but so now what's the? Get rid of this. Hide this. And what do I want to do? I want to say, well, hour-and-a-half point. Okay, so we've installed it. Now we have to say the hx.boost. hx boost. And docs reference. Boost equals true. So from what I read in the docs, this causes it to trigger a GET request. Then we want to say target element. hx target was main, right? Okay, so let's see. I think that's all I have to do. I think that's the idea of this tool. And we say challenges. Yes, list challenges. Ah, that's so cool. If we say home, so we'll say like about. And then, so basically on load, is it load trigger? No. Or attribute reference boost get. Once on load, I think we say main load hx trigger equals load once, and hx get equals or welcome. Hello. And then in hello, we have to have a template called new file. Hello.html. H1 about. Rogo is a tool it'd be nice. I think we can do markdown in Flask as well. I think Flask has like a built-in markdown. Flask render markdown. Mm-hmm. 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 I'm looking for the one that was built into Flask. Icon Flask. I saw this in the docs. Why isn't, I don't know why Google's not. Like dependencies, the very first thing it installs is like the list of here. Workzoid markup safe comes with Jinja. Oh, comes with Jinja. Jinja mark. Oh, maybe I misunderstood. It says markup, not markdown. Okay, I'm not gonna worry about this right now. Don't need to care about this at the moment. Sure. So that is gonna be at hello. We could just stored as static, right? Mm. I'm confusing that myself now because like we're not. If you fetch this on your like, if you just went to I don't like this. I don't like that at all. Because if you just go here, you're just going to get about. You're not going to get the like runner. If you just go there, you just syntax what? Oh right, because that's not a. And you get this raw thing. But okay, well, it didn't load. Home. That's what we want. About. Not home. We want about. About. I like this. This is like how an API should work. But I don't think you ought to be able to get it as like text. And I worked on an API at the place where I'm working for the next 4 days. Four more days of work, and then I'm man, I guess, or unemployed, however, depending on how you look at it. But I was a designer of an API and interface to our system, and it was dynamic, so you could write applications and attach them to the API, and then like build your own little API out of our. And it was designed so that you could have an HTML interface, or you could get the same data. Like it was like a structured interface, but the widgets on the screen could include like HTML descriptions. You'd get a if you just went to the API, you would actually get like a HTML interface. I really like that. I really like that HTMX kind of provides that same kind of idea. But you ought to be able to also ask for like JSON. So like in the URL, you ought to be able to say like about JSON or whatever, and it should. Interesting. Hey, hang on a second. I said about, and it brought me here. If you change the this. If I just went here in the web, I put like a question mark here. That's a new request, and it doesn't have that shell around it. So I want to be able to wrap that shell around things, like detect that, you know. Hmm. Because now if you don't enter through this area, you don't get the navigation and whatnot. Maybe that's fine. What happens if you do that? Challenges. I'm kind of okay with that. I don't know. Yeah, but then if you bookmark a page or something, you're not gonna. Not cool. I'll have to. I'm gonna experiment with this. I'm not committed to this right now. I'm just an experiment. Okay. So anyway, so let's say we've mocked up the. So how do you see the diff view? All right, but let's go ahead and add the one thing on here. So def list challenges self pass, and the URL will be whatever this URL is, right? Localhost 5000. Self URL equals URL challenges. All right, so when we say requests get URL plus self URL. Self URL plus C, and then now we want to tell it to use JSON, right? Return, let's see, res equals this, return res JSON. So I guess this is kind of like the spike of what I'm talking about. Why is this too many blank lines? Now, what happens if we do that? If we go to C and we say JSON at the end, not found. Does the route let me do that? I don't think you can say that. Oh, babies are coming in. Hello? What's going on? Okay, what's wrong? Oh no. Come sit by me. I'm working on something. You can see what I'm working. It's over there. I'm by the other desk. Routes. Routing. Nope, you gotta do it yourself. It's on wheels, sweetie. I thought there was a way you could put in different. I'm sorry, I'm just talking to myself. I thought you could put like more than one route on it. Oh, okay. So see, or maybe you could do it both ways. Why not? You should be able to do it both ways. Well,
is this even on?
you see, it has no batteries. It's not connected to anything. I'm making a video here, sweetie petey. I'm recording this for posterity. That's you. So we're gonna say this challenges JSON, and then we're gonna render it with it. So return maybe something. Alright, we're gonna have to wrap this up. Singing jingle bells because it's Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Alright.
Hey,
Alright.
yes.
Stop.
Why?
Because I'm recording this and I'm trying to make a video and it doesn't need a jingle bell sound.
Yes,
Plus, I'm trying to concentrate. Alright. I'm confused here because this is going to be unpleasant in Flask. Go C JSON, and then we want to say app route to C. But I want to get the data, and then from here I want to say return the idea is that you put this affix on the end, and then it's, or I could use some WSGI middleware to strip that out. That's the problem with using the framework though. Why is this not highlighted in the same color? I need to return JSON. And this is redundant. So now, if I want to call this function, I either have to make 3 functions, or I say, but the idea is that this would be return JSON lotus list challenges data. And this is actually self and args. Args. Self. Wait, what? Not arg. There's no self. These are just freestanding functions. Get the data. I don't need to be looking at it in this. Now it's full. Okay. And then return render template with the data. The data. Click on this and we can see the actual definition. Context. Variables to make available in. And I see then the context would be. I'm not talking to you, sweetie. But it puts all these little words in the middle of the thing. And hide that to the table. Bye. Bye, little sweetie. New file. Challenges.html. Where did it add it? Why is it not here? Templates, challenges.html. Right there. Look from disk. Okay. Thanks, PyCharm. Oh, there it is. Okay, so now save. Need tornado right now. That many pages. Templates. Basic stuff. Basic. Right. Item and end for. And it's okay, so for item in data and for syntax. Kind of a generic thing that I guess eventually will. So now if I do this, we get JSON back. It's almost nicer to just have plain W, like this class gets in the way at every step. So far, it hasn't bought me anything. Make response, render time. So render template. Okay. I don't know if this is an improvement over what WSGI offers, right? Just right out of the box, the low level stuff. Say res, res, return res, and not X parachutes. We just want content type. JSON, application JSON, right? Except not here. We do need to, yeah. Okay, so because you got to process that data in two different ways. List challenges JSON would be this, and here we're going to say response. JSON dump s list challenges data. And that comes from ask. Yeah, maybe this is probably not the right tool for the job because this is really meant for like serving HTML pages. Trying to serve something. Okay, so rogo client. Okay, application JSON. Is it meant to? Oh, it was already dumped. We just want the raw data. Right, we have slashes there. Now, okay, that's what we want. And now when we remove the JSON part, JSON object must be string or byte array, okay. Now we don't need that. We just need the data. Data. So I'd have these three pairs of functions, or this triple of functions for each. I don't like that at all. Plus, I'm going to have like a corresponding thing in the client, right? To fetch it from the client. Rogo client test, but that's what I did want. I wanted it to be a another. So let's do learn tris and some other thing, some other course. If I say challenges here, I should get a list. About and challenge. Challenges, we could say here what this is. So, H1 challenges, and it can be self-describing. And now each one of these is going to be what? Each one of these is going to be a hx target equals main. And so we'll say one challenge. So we'll say a href equals item.url. Can you do that? Item.href. Now, will that looks in the thing? So item.url and item.title. Then in the data, my friend John Ernest was doing this just last night. We were talking about this just last night about how painful it is to write this. Beyondloom.com. And if you go to blog, I bet he posted right now, ranking of fruits. He's talking about how painful it is to type this. Or we were talking about how painful it is to type this. Whereas in his language, Lil, you can just write a table literal like this. Oh well. Unfortunately, Lil does not have a web framework. So URL. Oh, we say now we can at least say learntris. Maybe that's a course code or something like that. Logo other. Yeah. Something like that. Now, where's my challenges? Learntris not found. Okay, so did go. Oh, item.url. That is correct. Item in data. Item.url. Item.title. So I was hoping that item is like this. You have to do Python system URL. I expect to be golfing this, right? And maybe even porting it to a different language. Item URL. Why isn't that? Am I not? HTML render temp data. Go to challenges.html. Item in data. Oh, we got to put curly braces around this. Item URL, and we didn't need the. Like, I should have. Yeah, I wasn't paying attention. This actually worked before. Item.title. Title. This. But it's not relative to what it is, right? Say like data C plus that, and then we can just get rid of all these. And then now it says we don't know what that is. But if we say a name, then here we say name equals none. Oh yeah, we require a name. And I don't know what the data is going to be here, but like, I guess the challenge, it would be the but we'd want to get it out of the table, right, and find out what this corresponding name is here. List challenges data. List challenges data. Equals name. X URL equals name, and then yeah, 0. If not data, if data, how about if not data, return, what did I just see, like how to return like a error, correct an error, abort 404. And that should be abort. Missing. View function mapping is overriding an existing endpoint list challenge. Show challenge. What's going on? What I want. What's wrong with that? If X URL is equal to name. Oh, X, yeah, ends with name. So then new email file. But we just want a little chunk, right? This has got to be a solved problem in HTML. Data dot data dot title. And something like, you know, like end tests. Data dot end tests or something. Num tests. I'm going to wrap it up in a few minutes here, in a moment here. Learn tris, and then we're going to call this just number. So num test equals x3. And so we'll say there are 10 tests in this one, 6 billion tests in this one, and 4 tests. Tuple index out of range. Right, because x2, x3. There are tests in this challenge. Num tests. And data num test. Oh, right, because I was going to say number 0. It's a list of one item. I guess we should assume they're unique. Right, that's exactly what I want to see. Why does it, the Copilot is putting that in there? So if we go back here, some other course, there are 4 tests in this challenge. I like this approach of writing very bare bones HTML chunks and posing a user interface this way and calling this an API. I'm more than happy to do this. I think that is the right way to do things. But you should also be able to. There should be something up here where you can click a button and get the JSON version of whatever you're looking for, like the Markdown version, or you know, get the raw text of the. You know, you should be able to choose different formats. That's how I had it in the work. I had like a little formats over here, and then you could see different pieces of it. And also, it was like had the concept of widgets or whatever in the application, and then this would serve the same kind of application that you would see on the screen in the web user. I'm not doing that here, but I like that concept. So far, I kind of like this idea. I do feel like maybe I don't need a template engine for this. Maybe this would be a little nicer in like JavaScript or something. I don't know. I'll have to think about this. Like what does it mean to make a server in this backend? You know, with this kind of logic. And I think that what's going to happen is at some point one of the courses in my catalog is going to be like a web framework, a full stack web framework with a back end and a front end, and the back end is going to do this kind of approach. You know, it's not going to be a pure JavaScript kind of thing. It's going to be like start with this, but show, yeah, you know, my approach to REST basically. This is a RESTful API in every sense of the word. I mean, it doesn't yet let you put things, you know, add courses and whatnot, but good start. And I feel like I'm running against the grain of Flask. Probably I should use something closer to WSGI, and maybe also, you know, get rid of the template engine and just, you know, do something simple. That's more pure data. But that's far off in the future. That's like I've got three courses to write before I get to that one. So that's gonna be course number 4, I think. So this is just an early preview. Probably several months away. Maybe, you know, later in the year I'll September. So yeah, I'm good. I'm good with this. I feel this is a good like establishing the basics of it, and I don't need to bore you with. I thank everybody for watching. This is already 2.5 hours, so I'm gonna go and say hang out with my family, wrap this up. So talk to you another time. Thanks for watching, and I will see you again soon.